I love you. You're always on my mind. I can't stop thinking about you. You make me feel giddy all over. I'm never more alive than I'm with you. I can't live without you. Sarap pakinggan, no? Wow. But loving God is not just with our words or thoughts and feelings. The prayer, the SHEMA from Deuteronomy 6, challenges us to love God with our entire beings. Let me read it. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be upon your hearts. I will be talking about loving God with our hearts and our strength, but today I'd like to chat about loving Him with our souls. Some verses, like Hebrews chapter 4, describe our souls as separate from the Spirit that God regenerates for Himself, when we receive Jesus Christ. So we have the Spirit, the one that the Holy Spirit talks with, communes with, and then we have our souls, the part of ourselves that the Bible describes as, more than what we think or feel, but what we choose, what we value, what we believe. And the SHEMA exhorts us to surrender even that to God. Have you ever loved anyone that was beyond thoughts and feelings? Kind of reminds me of a dry time. It was a challenging season with my wife when I was a pretty unlovable husband. Ako pa, di ba? Totoo yun. But because she loved God with all her soul, she kept her duties as my wife to submit to me. I did not make it easy for her. So much so that when the shoe was on the other foot, after I sort of wore her down and I realized what a fool I'd been, and I decided to rededicate myself to her, she found it hard to acknowledge my efforts to woo her over again. I look back at it and I shiver. But God kept sustaining me, telling me that marriage wasn't just about how we felt towards one another, but what we believed was how God wanted us to love one another. Have you ever felt that when you love and love someone who didn't love you back or didn't acknowledge any of your efforts? Sort of also reminds me of a trying time with Jesus Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane. On the eve of Christ's death on the cross, Jesus is there in tears, mixed with sweat and blood, crying out to His Father in heaven to allow Him to avoid suffering and death. For people who don't even feel anything towards Him, didn't care about Him, didn't look up to Him, anything. But despite what Jesus was feeling, He surrendered His soul to God's will. Yes, we can love God with our passionate hearts, but would you love Him with all your surrendered will, with our captivated thoughts, with all our conviction, with our whole life? Because that's how He loves you. With that in mind, have a great day.